What's up? My name is Brandon James. That is my dog Honey, and today I'm just going to talk about what I've been up to the last couple months. So the last couple months I have been in a lot of interviews. One of these interviews and people that I've been in contact with has taken 4 months and still no answers fully. I had 2 interviews in the last week, and one of the questions that comes up a lot is, how do you see culture differently? Like, as culture shifts in the world, how do you adjust in the church in order to compensate for the changing culture? My answer to that question is, culture might be changing, but truth still remains. We don't preach culture. We don't preach what's going on in the world today. We preach the Bible. We preach scripture. We preach truth. Truth doesn't change. How you present that truth might change, but we're not fighting with culture. We're presenting truth. And I think that is an important lesson for anyone in ministry, anyone teaching or studying religion or theology, is to understand we're not here to fight culture or to condemn it. We're not here to join it. We're here to preach truth, to teach truth. And that truth will never change. If we look to scripture, the truth is still there. My answer to one of these interview questions upset one of the people. He said, how are you going to use culture and learn about the changing culture in order to have an impact on these students' lives? And my answer was, culture doesn't change. Like, the problems he dealt with as a kid are the same problems kids deal with today. We just hear more about the ones today because the media makes things so much more easily accessible. And so the main point of that question just doesn't make sense to me. Cool, we use social media to share the gospel. We use social media to share the story, which is kind of what my whole online presence is about. But media, meeting kids at games, meeting kids at their plays, meeting kids where they're at. And that's another thing. I get the question of, how is youth ministry different? Like, how are you going to do that if you're going to school for pastoral ministry? Ministry is the same. Whoever you're ministering to, right, all deal with the same things. It's all about meeting people where they're at and giving them an encounter with Jesus. My goal is not to make Christians. My goal is not to build the church. My goal is just to share the story, plant the seed, because God is the one who's going to make them grow. God is the one who's building his church. Jesus gave his blood for the church. And so those questions it doesn't make sense. Culture doesn't really change. How we see culture and view culture might change. How we see ministry shouldn't change. It's just how you go about ministering. The truth still remains. The truth is found in scripture. So whether culture changes, how presentation of it changes, it's still preaching the truth of scripture. And I think that is the lesson that anyone in ministry, going into ministry, needs to understand. Alright, till next time, remember, share the story.